So here's the idea of integration as the limit of a sum. It basically says that if you want to integrate to find the area under a curve, let's say between 2 points here, let's call them A and B to match the limits on the integral, then you can do that by splitting the area up into various rectangles. We've seen the trapezium rule before that splits the area up into trapeziums, but this idea uses rectangles. So here we have rectangle there, and so on. Obviously, using just 4 rectangles here is really inaccurate, but as you can imagine, the more rectangles you use, the more accurate the estimate. In fact, the idea says that if each of these widths of the rectangles are delta x, and each of the heights are f of x, which will change depending on which rectangle you're looking at, then as delta x approaches 0, so as that gap gets really, really, really small, the sum of the rectangle areas will approach the area under the curve. And that's exactly what this is saying here. So limit as delta x approaches 0, as delta x approaches 0, the sum of the rectangle areas, which is represented by this, because this is saying you want to sum from when x is a to when x is b of f of x times delta x, area of a rectangle base times height, and that will approach the area under the curve, which, as we know, is what we get when we integrate. So that's the idea, but you don't really need to know that in detail. All you really need to know is how to approach examples. So here we go. Example 1, express this thing as an integral. That can look intimidating in an exam, but it's actually pretty straightforward if you understand that this is just the same as integrating between 2.1 and 6.3. And then you copy the function 2 over x and you change delta x to dx. And that's it. We then have hence show that this thing equals ln k, where k is a constant to be found. That then is just a case of solving the integral. So we're integrating between 2.1 and 6.3 of 2 over x with respect to x. When you do that, you get 2 ln x, and then you're just subbing in your limits. I would then maybe factor out the 2, so you're left with ln 6.3 minus ln 2.1 in the brackets. Apply logarithm laws, which says that that's going to be 6.3 divided by 2.1, which is then 2 ln 3, which is then ln 3 squared, using another logarithm law, which is then finally ln 9, which is the format that they wanted. That's it for now. If you found this video useful, please do remember to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And do share this with anyone else you think might find it helpful. Thanks, and see you next time.